obviously, sad news out of Baltimore. 6 construction workers were killed when this boat crashed into the bridge. So we're going to just show some video. There's no audio here, but as you can see, that is an absolutely massive boat filled to the brim with cargo. As you could just see there, the lights are on and then they went off. And so there had been some power issues on this boat, obviously. All the lights go off. Now the boat veers closer and closer to the bridge. Because this is a flat shot, the depth perception's a little off, so it's a little further away right now at this second than it looks. But as the video progresses, you see that one light kind of come back on and then go off again. Now it's totally dark. All right, now we see a little bit of light, and now obviously it's too late. The boat has obviously veered way off course. And then, as you can see, that's the point of collision. And then look at how this bridge just comes crashing down.
They signaled that they were having trouble, so the police closed off the bridge.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they had a little...
That's why you only had the workers on the bridge at that
wow.
time.
Okay.
Otherwise, there would have been some cars.
There would have been some that got stuck on there. Wow. Yeah, so you had 6 workers killed in this accident here. Obviously, a failure of the boat. There was a report out that Russell put together a slideshow of from The Lever. So do you want to get into that a little bit?
Yep. This is kind of all of a piece with parts flying off planes and trains derailing and destroying life in people's towns. This is late stage capitalism shit. Feds recently hit cargo giant in Baltimore disaster for silencing whistleblowers. Regulators cited Maersk for its illegal policy blocking employees from reporting safety concerns to the Coast Guard. The company that chartered the cargo ship that destroyed the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore was recently sanctioned by regulators for blocking its employees from directly reporting safety concerns to the U.S. Coast Guard in violation of a seaman whistleblower protection law. I'm going to warn you, folks, there's a lot of seamen in this segment. According to regulatory filings reviewed by The Lever. 8 months before a Maersk Line limited chartered cargo ship crashed into the Baltimore Bridge, likely killing 6 people and injuring others, the Labor Department sanctioned the shipping conglomerate for retaliating against an employee who reported unsafe working conditions aboard a Maersk-operated boat. In its order, the department found that Maersk had a policy that requires employees to first report their concerns to Maersk prior to reporting it to the Coast Guard or other authorities. What could go wrong with that? Federal regulators at the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which operates under the Labor Department, called the policy repugnant and a reprehensible and an egregious violation of the rights of employees, which chills them from contacting the Coast Guard or other authorities without contacting the company first. Maersk's reporting policy was approved by company executives, federal regulators found in their investigation into the incident. During their investigation into Maersk, federal officials said there was reasonable cause to believe that the company's policy violated the Seamen's Protection Act, which protects maritime workers who speak out about unsafe working conditions. Officials ordered the company to reinstate the employee and pay over $700,000 in damages and back wages. They also demanded that Maersk revise its policy to allow seamen to contact the Coast Guard about safety concerns before notifying the company. The fired employee was a chief mate on the, Saf Marine Mafati. Okay, that wasn't as bad as it looked. A Maersk-operated vessel who also served as a relief captain when needed. The seaman reported unrepaired leaks, unpermitted alcohol consumption on board, inoperable lifeboats, faulty emergency fire suppression equipment, and other issues. Before he was fired, the employee was disciplined for not properly maintaining the logbook and failing to properly follow orders. The fired employee told federal regulators that he believed these disciplinary actions were, quote, retaliation for reporting alcohol consumption on board the vessel. Okay. Maersk did not respond to Lever questions about the Labor Department's findings and its previous policy on workplace safety reporting ahead of publication. In a comment to other news outlets, Maersk stated, quote, "We are horrified by what has happened in Baltimore, and our thoughts are with all of those affected. We can confirm that the container vessel Dolly, operated by charter vessel company Synergy Group, is time chartered by Maersk and is carrying Maersk customers' cargo. No Maersk crew and personnel were on board the vessel. We are closely following the investigations conducted by authorities and Synergy, and we will do our utmost to keep our customers informed." So basically, it sounds like they subcontracted the crewing of the ship to an outside company, but it's their boat and their cargo.
Right. And their system, obviously.
Right. Many maritime employers have a similar policy that prevents employees from directly contacting the Coast Guard or other regulatory agencies, according to Eric Ryan, a lawyer specializing in maritime injuries, aviation accident claims, and other issues at the Spagnoletti law firm. In a blog post, Ryan highlighted a previous whistleblower retaliation case that found it was, quote, standard business practice for employers to prohibit any direct contact by employees with government regulatory bodies. Since last summer, Maersk has been
Bless you.
Sorry about that. I was trying to hold it to the end. Since last summer, Maersk has been battling the International Longshoremen's Association, a labor union that represents 65,000 maritime workers, including Maersk employees, over labor unrest at a port in Alabama. In August 2023, APM Terminals, a division of Maersk, sued the union, claiming that workers at its Mobile, Alabama port were on strike illegally during an active contract. The court case is ongoing, and documents filed by the union in March allege that the company illegally suspended 6 workers for, quote, raising a concern about a safety at the job site. I'm sensing a pattern here, Keaton.
Yes. Yes. Now, literally, planes, trains, automobiles, now boats. You have the East Palestine derailment. You have Boeing planes. The parts are falling off the planes, wheels falling out of the sky. And now in the water, these incidents and these deaths, the deaths of these workers. This is a point that I've made, for a few years now. These deaths should be attributed to capitalism in the same way that deaths under communism are attributed to communism. Yep. Right? Let's count deaths under each system the same way so we can get an actual fair counting for which is worse, which is the bigger threat at the moment.
Well, and I think there was a period, and this is what allowed the adherents of capitalism as a superior system to credibly make the claim. There was this reformist period, really starting, you could argue, with Theodore Roosevelt and continuing through FDR, of building a strong regulatory state. Certainly there were, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but the overall drift for about half a century was towards a strong regulatory state and a government that was able to rein in the worst excesses of these corporations. But ultimately, as Marx posited, the capital is going to wind up consolidating in fewer and fewer hands, and those hands are going to overwhelm the state. They are going to wind up devouring the state. And in the final stage that he predicts, which is very accurate to where we are now, he predicted that they'll eat the treasury when there's nothing left. They'll just eat whatever the government has left. And that's where we are. And in a weird kind of parallel to horseshoe theory, I keep thinking of this. this was always the joke about the Soviets that we made during the Cold War, that their shit doesn't work, that they're going to bang on the dashboard of the spaceship to make the lights come back on. And here we are. Here we are. Capitalism ended us up in the same place with supply shortages, with people not able to get the goods that they want, and with slipshod manufacturing. It's coming from a different place. The one was, I would argue, the state trying to micromanage in a way that no state really can. The production process, it's just too complicated to manage it in that way. That's what I would say led to those problems in manufacturing under the Soviet system. But we're ending up in the same place just for a different reason. In the end, they're chasing the stock price. They're chasing the quarter. That's what happened at Boeing. I was just reading another article from The Lever. We might feature it because that got under my radar. It's from January. Yeah, I think it's something like $860 million that they've given in stock buybacks and dividends to investors that should have gone into recommended safety improvements that they declined to do. Like, in the end, you wind up with the same result: unsafe manufacturing and crumbling infrastructure.
Yes, and this really is, all of that deregulation, all of that prioritization of not even just the profit motive, but the short-term quarterly profit motive, right? These capitalists are not long-term thinkers. They are all about the quarterly earnings, coming up that week or that month. That's it. And they just every 3 months they restart and go for that next number. 3 months down the road, 3 months down the road. That's how you get in a situation like this. And after a while, these things will start to happen. And we are in the stage now where the system has become impervious to any human input. And that's why you can't really rein it back now, right? That's why they call it an end stage capitalism, a late stage capitalism, because all it can do now is destroy itself.
Please clap.